All right, let me check. What is the question of the day? What wrong decision look strategic, but it's pure ego? Hi, friends, I'm Fred. First of all, I need to tell you any decision that involves taking loans, financing, borrowing money, I believe that is it just appear to be strategic, but in reality, you are working against yourself. Now, I know that there is a lot of people who take loans and are successful. No doubt about that. But the reality is this: when you take a loan, when you finance anything, when you borrow money, you are taking risk. And in many occasions, it means that you are risking maybe your entire business, you know. So the other day I was watching a YouTube video of a guy that was explaining that he owns a brand here in Brazil that produce t-shirts, and all of the sudden his factory was a very small one. But all of the sudden a famous person here in Brazil appeared in a in a in a TV show with one of his t-shirts, and all of the sudden he became very famous. His brand became very famous, and he grew the business very fast. And what happened to him was that he lose money for 5 years because of that. But as he an intelligent guy, he somehow managed to resolve the whole situation and reduce his operation to a point where he was able to manage again. And fortunately, the he did not bankrupt because of that, but almost. He almost bankrupt. We needed to notice that when you take a loan, the structure of the money is working against you. Why is that? Because you are going to have to pay more than you took because of the interest. And this became especially interesting when you understand when the opposite thing happens, when the structure of the money works in your favor. You know, when you have more money than you need, then is when things become interesting, because you are going to have always more than you need, again, because of the interest. Maybe at a certain point, you are not going to be able to do what you want to do. For example, let me give you my case here. Now, I finished a construction, and what I'd like to do would be to start another construction. But as I wasn't able to sell the first one because interest taxes here in Brazil right now are very high, I don't have the money to start another construction right now. So I could finance, but I don't want to do that because I don't want the structure of the money working against me. Because then I'm going to be concerned with two different things. I'm going to be concerned with my business, building, and doing everything that I need to do. All right. And I'm going to be concerned with paying the payments, the interest. You know. And imagine something like this. Imagine if I finish the construction and I don't sell. Then what I'm going to do? You know, something that I notice is this. The more the business is good, the simpler it is. Clearer, not sophisticated. You are not you are not going to do um, negotiations in layers. You know, you're not going to have layers. What I mean by layers, what I mean is something like this. Oh, I'm going to take the loan. Oh, but for example, to finish the construction, I need, for example, 100,000. Now, as I need to pay the loan, it's not going to be enough if I take 100,000. I'm going to have to take 200,000 because I'm going to need the money to do the construction, and I'm going to need the money to pay the loan. You know, you are doing things in layers. Your business is complicated. You are overcomplicating things. In my opinion, what you need to do, if you don't have the money, you don't do what you want to do. But what I'm going to do then? You are going to save. You are going to manage a way to to save the money, to make more money, to do what you want to do. Let me give you my case that I'm living right now. As I told you, I didn't sell the house because of the interest rates here in Brazil. But I rented. And I believe that I rented for a good price in a good moment because the condominium where I built the house is a very good one, and you almost don't have more lots there to sell. So houses there are becoming more and more rare, and is a very desirable place in my city. So the prices of the houses there are are growing, are increasing. So what I'm doing right now, as you know, I want to build again. What I'm doing is this. I'm saving the money of the rent and with other rents that I receive. And I'm thinking in, um, for example, their house is rented for more than a year now. And I'm thinking in 6 months from now, it's going to happen here in Brazil, the elections for the next president of Brazil. I believe that in the next year, the interest rates may reduce. So uh, I'm thinking about ask the tenant to leave the house in the next year and then try to sell it again more aggressively. But if I'm not able to sell it, what I'm going to do is save, keep saving, and then, for example, in 1 year, I'm going to be able to buy another lot and start to build again. Oh man, but you are going to wait for 1 whole year. Yes, this is what I'm doing right now. But what I learned is this, that even though I'm waiting and I don't like to wait, I would prefer, I'm telling you right now here that I'm 100% sure that I would prefer, would be very, very preferable for me if I don't have to wait. I'd like to be building right now. Unfortunately, I can't because of the money, as I told you. So I'm doing other things. But what I noticed, what I learned is this. Even though I have to wait, once I once I buy the lot, once I build in it, and considering that I do not owe anybody anything, the structure of the business is very different. You know, you really own that. And to tell you the truth, I avoided doing bad business in the past because of that. Because I wasn't desperate to sell in many occasions. So I'm only selling if I really have a good business at hand. If I don't, I'm not selling. Simple as that. For example, last week, a possible buyer appeared for one of my warehouses, and he made an offer, and I did the math. What math is this? The math is, in every occasion that I'm considering selling something, the math that I do is this. I need to be able to build another real estate that is going to value at least 1.5 times the value of the property that I'm selling. For example, let's say that I'm selling something for 100,000 reais. That is the currency of Brazil. Then, if I'm selling it for this price, with this 100,000, I need to be able to buy a lot and build a second property that is going to value 150,000. If the conditions are not these, I do not sell. And think about that. This guy appeared last week willing to buy one of my warehouses. And I want to sell this, but I need to do the math, and the math need to match my rule that I explained for you. All right, then I did the math, and I realized that with the money that he was offering, this wouldn't be possible for me. This wouldn't be possible. The only thing that I would do would be to replace the warehouse. I would be able to buy a lot and build another warehouse just like the one that I was selling. So, imagine this circumstance. If in that moment I have to pay a loan, if in that moment I have to pay the bank, probably my my decision wouldn't be as peaceful, as calm as it was, because I would be worried with paying the bank. Now, now I'm not worried with paying anyone. Actually, it's quite the contrary, the situation. I'm just saving money and checking lots in my area that I can buy and I can build. If something appears, an opportunity, I will try to buy it. And while I'm doing that, what I'm doing? I'm training more, I'm spending more times with my daughters, I'm working in different projects, I'm doing other things. You know, this is what I'm doing right now. And I can do that. And I can be out of work, not working, just because I want. Because if I want to go borrow money right now, I could. And to buy a lot. But with what energy I would build? I would be anxious. I would be nervous. I would be thinking the entire time about paying what I borrowed. All of that. So I believe that it's a better idea not to borrow money. That's why I believe that it's always a good strategy. You deal with your business, you deal with your money, you manage your business with the money that you have, not others people's money. Simple as that. All right, my friends, this is all that I have for you today. Thank you all for tuning in, and I see you in the next video.